slide, please. This is the first Sunday in Lent. So the question is, what is Lent? I have not infrequently felt Lent, but that's not the same thing at all. Why Lent? Lent is a fast. I think probably most of us know that Lent is a fast. It's traditionally not the only church fast, because Advent was originally another fast, another 4-week fast. I learned something about Lent this week that I didn't know before. We know that Lent is 40 days, yes, but that's not including Sundays. It's 40 weekdays. So, look, you're not allowed to stop whatever you were giving up for Lent just for the Sunday instead, but no, it doesn't count. It's 40 days, not including the Sundays. There were a lot more fast days originally. If we go back to the Middle Ages, when, of course, England was a Catholic country in the Middle Ages. People observed Lent as a fast, they observed Advent as a fast, and there were many more feast days. In fact, the local priest could order a bit of fasting when he felt like it. So if his congregation weren't paying enough attention to his sermons, he could say, right, you lot, 2 days fasting. Alternatively, if the local lord decided the peasants were getting a bit uppity, he'd have a word with the priest who would order some fasting, because people who are very hungry are not really concentrating on about causing trouble, they're concentrating about something else. Fasting has really gone out of fashion in this country. Fasting as in not eating at all. Jesus fasted for 40 days, which is about as long as you can go without food. But people used to fast in this country for a day, maybe 2 days. It's still a much more important thing for people, Christian people from Africa, I know that. Alice has occasionally done a fast day. I'm sure Godwin, Toko, you've probably done a fast day from time to time as well. It's a way of concentrating the mind. That's what it's all about. What happens at Lent in this country? Well, on Shrove Tuesday, you get rid of all the stuff that you're not going to be allowed to eat in Lent. That's what it was really about. And the word comes from to be shriven. And to be shriven meant to have your sins cast out. Cast out, and then on the following day, you have Ash Wednesday, which in Catholic and Anglican Church is very, very much more important than it is for Baptists and non-conformists in general, where you have the ashes put on your forehead. And it's an outward sign that you're going into Lent, and that it's a special time. But what is Lent? What is it about? Well, most of us know that, for Lent, you're supposed to give something up for Lent. Those of us who are ancient enough or long-serving enough to remember Jerry Newson as our minister, Jerry always gave up chocolate for Lent. And he very much looked forward to Easter Sunday because he saw the chocolate Easter eggs on the mantelpiece or wherever, and here he's come to. Well, lots of people will give up something for Lent, something physical. Now, I'm not giving up any particular type of food item for Lent. It would be a bit silly of me to try, really, because for one thing, I don't have a sweet tooth, and I never have, and I'm not allowed to eat sweet things anyway. So, I'm giving up chocolate. chocolate for Lent. Yeah, bully for you. You eat it any other time? No. That's not going to work, is it? And besides which, as a type 2 diabetic, I'm supposed to manage my diet. That's at least half of how my diabetes is managed. So, giving things up for Lent, physical things up for Lent, not really a good idea for me. Sophie's husband gave up meat for Lent 7 years ago and has remained vegetarian ever since. I don't think I could do that. I could give up wine for Lent. As a Frenchman, I don't think it'd stick though. So, yeah, you can give up something physical. And if you've done it right, then it will stick. And that's important. That is important. Lots of people in our own community here don't have enough to put on the table to start giving things up in the first place. That's the sad truth. They can't give up treats of whatever kind because they're not getting any treats anyway. But what's the purpose of Lent? It's not to make you miserable. That's not it at all, Oh, I can't have my whatever. I've given up bacon. I'm really fancy the no, that's not what it's about. It's not to make you miserable. Nothing that we do as Christians should be designed to make us miserable. Remember Paul saying about faith, hope and charity. How can you be hopeful if you're miserable all the time? It doesn't work, does it? So we shouldn't be going out of our way to make ourselves miserable. There's enough going on in the world to make you miserable without doing it yourself. What is the purpose of Lent? It's to focus the mind on God and godly things. It's a means to an end. Like Jesus in the wilderness, in the desert, who was focusing his mind on God and on his mission to come. He was focusing on the teaching he was going to be doing, his ministry, and of course, being Jesus, focusing on what it was all going to come to, the culmination of it, which we celebrate at the end of Lent. 40 days in the wilderness, concentrating not on the body, but on the spirit and on God. Now that's something that we can do ourselves right now. What we can do for Lent. And hopefully make it stick for good. Now, as I say, I'm not really, giving stuff up is not really very, very practical for me in physical terms. So I have decided to give up bad thoughts for Lent. Now, we all get bad thoughts. The devil just posts them in there all the time. Can you give up bad thoughts? You can't give up getting them. But here's the difference. You can give them away. So if you get bad thoughts of whatever kind, you can give them away to God. And I'm hoping that at least some of that is going to stick after Lent. Drivers on the road make me annoyed. I don't suppose they're going to stop doing it. I don't suppose everyone, at the end of Lent is going to suddenly become very polite. After you, I don't suppose that at all. But if I can give up some of that anger to God, lots of things that make me annoyed. I'm no different from anybody else. And if I can give them up to God, I'll be a better person for it. And I'll be happier for it, and therefore I'll be more hopeful. Lent is about penitence. The penitent man or woman has given what troubles him up to God and has received justification, that's the technical term, but has had that burden lifted off them. I mean, you all know that one of my heroes is John Bunyan. At the beginning of Pilgrim's Progress, he describes himself as having a huge burden on his back that bows him down. And he walks through the Slough of Despond, the great marsh, bog, struggles through it, and comes to a hill. And on the hill is a cross. His burden falls off his back and rolls away into a pit. And he's free. So Lent is about focusing on God. Lent is about making a promise to God. And if you do it right, you can get the benefit even after Lent is over. I'm sure there'll be more. We've got another 3 Sundays of Lent, haven't we? So there's going to be more about Lent from other people. That's my message about Lent. Focus on God. Make it